We begin this broadcast in the UK, where all eyes are on Prime Minister Boris Johnson. In a dramatic development, police are now investigating allegations that parties were held at Downing Street that breached COVID-19 lockdown restrictions. Mr. Johnson now faces perhaps the biggest crisis of his leadership, with calls for his resignation growing louder by the day.
Boris Johnson is under fire again for attending his own birthday party at Downing Street in June 2020, a party that broke lockdown rules at the time. London's Metropolitan Police have now launched an inquiry.
So I welcome the Met's decision to conduct its own investigation, because I believe this will help to give the public the clarity it needs and help to draw a line under matters.
At the time, COVID restrictions did not allow more than 2 people to meet indoors, and a series of leaks suggest that a string of illegal social gatherings took place at Downing Street. This particular one was a surprise, thrown by his wife and attended by several others.
What we know is that 30 people gathered, that his wife was there, and that the interior designer was there as well. If it was my birthday and my wife and an interior designer rocked up at work, there was Christmas cake, or birthday cake, and a celebration, it breaches the rules.
As the investigation looms, calls for Johnson to resign are increasing across the political spectrum.
I think the public have made their minds up. I think public opinion has already concluded that he broke the rules that he made and that he hasn't told the truth about it. That means he hasn't got the authority to lead the country when we're in the middle of huge challenges, and therefore he has to go for the good of the country.
I commissioned an independent
For now,
inquiry
Johnson may still sound bullish. But if enough Conservative MPs decide their leader has gone too far, the Prime Minister could be forced to resign.
I apologise sincerely for...
Let's take you now to London. DW's correspondent Birgit Maas is covering this ongoing, unfolding story. Birgit, I understand Mr. Johnson addressed the Parliament earlier, but he didn't have that much to say.
It was very short, Leila, and a little bit peculiar, almost like he was distancing himself as though he wasn't really implicated in this investigation, whereas we know this is exactly the subject of the police investigation now into the conduct of the Prime Minister and also other staff in Downing Street, where he lives and works, and also across other government buildings. So he is definitely deeply implicated in all this.
Birgit, it's been a relentless stream of damaging revelations that have come to light. You've been reporting on them, and it seems that public opinion is now starting to turn against the Prime Minister. Let's take a listen to what some people in London think, and then we'll pick it up after that.
Well, I don't know, it's taken so long, there's been so many controversies so far, and hasn't kicked him out of office, so it's a bit of a Teflon PM at the moment. So
I've never expected any more from him, totally disappointed.
And it's just one thing after another, really, and I think the excuses have run dry, really.
Well, to be honest, it's like you say, if you break the rules, you've got to go, ain't you? There's too many excuses have been coming from him. Do you know, everything's an excuse, and that apology the other day, that's like insulting all our intelligence, really, isn't it? Like, if he thinks we're all that dumb that we're going to believe what he said. Yeah, I'll be honest, I was voted for Boris, but he's got to go, isn't he? He broke the rules, he's got to go.
Stinging criticism there, Birgit. How significant is it that the police are investigating a sitting British Prime Minister? Is there a precedent for this?
It's really hugely significant, and you can hear it in the voices of the Londoners that are interviewed. People are really bitter because many of them have made personal sacrifices. They were not able to be with loved ones when they died, or were not able to attend funerals. So this really is evoking a feeling in many people as though there is one rule for them, very strict lockdown rules, and another rule for the people who make the rules, who don't really stick to them at all. And this really gives the impression that the moral authority of Boris Johnson's leadership is really challenged hugely. And for example, Mark Drakeford, the First Minister of Wales, has questioned that moral authority, and he said he is really not fit to lead the country. So, you know, when somebody who is the leader of a devolved nation in Wales says something like that, that really speaks very, very loudly. And the MPs who now have to decide about Boris Johnson's future will really be debating amongst themselves whether he really is the right person to lead them into the next election.
Birgit Maas reporting from London. Birgit, thank you.